Hello there beautiful, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joesephyr and today we're going to be looking at the community recap from the stream that we've just had for Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia for the month of October, and we have a lot to look forward to. Luckily, not too many surprises, but some interesting tweaks in the calendar as opposed to the JP version that might be noteworthy going forward. But we are seeing the dawn of the BT Plus era, and therefore all the characters come along with that, including some very, very hyped LDs and characters in general. So if you'd like to find out more about everything we have to explore when it comes to October for Dissidia, then of course stay tuned and keep on watching. Of course, before we get started, don't forget to check out all of my social media links down below. And I'm very, very pleased to announce, I'm sure you guys have seen it all over my socials, so Twitter and Twitch and all of that kind of stuff, and also Reddit as well, but I have now got an official date for my first Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia UK meetup. So if you live in the UK and you'd like to get involved with I'm not doing anything huge or crazy, I just want to get together with lots of other players who play this game and meet some of you guys for real, so that we can just all get together, have a drink, have a bit of time playing some games. This is all in association with Meltdown London, which is a bar that I used to go to play like fighting game tournaments with, and they were so lovely in helping me realise this, so it'd be really great to see as many of you as possible. So if you're in the UK, keep Sunday the 7th of November free, because it'd be lovely to see as many of you as possible. Now, obviously with regards to Patreon, I always shout out one of my patrons every time I release a video, and today that person is going to be Aurelius, and you've been on my Patreon for a very long time now, so a massive thank you goes out to you and to all of my patrons as well for supporting this channel. And if you would like a title card like Aurelius has, as well as loads of other benefits, then perhaps you'd like to consider joining Patreon as well by clicking on the link in the description box below. Or if you'd like to instead, you could have a look at my Ko-fi account instead, which is also linked down below if you just want to have a look at that too. And obviously, as always, don't forget to check out all of the other content creators and resources pertaining to Dissidia. So before we get stuck into the actual BT Plus and all of that stuff, we do have some other little bits and pieces to go into before we get started on that. And as always, a massive thank you to Crystal and Joshua for presenting the stream. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, believe me, I know, I've done it before, and it is quite, not for Dissidia, obviously, before people read me in the comments, I've done it for other things. It's really good job that they do, and I definitely want to see everyone send them the love. Now, before we go into the BT Plus, like I said, we have some quality of life improvements. So, auto sell is now a thing. So whenever you pick up, you can auto sell 3-star, 4-star gear, which is absolutely fantastic. But honestly, the bit that I am most excited about here is that the maximum number of selectable gear on view and sell is increased from 30 to 50. And honestly, I think this is a much, much bigger deal than people think it is, on the back of the fact that when you're pulling as often, or have to pull as many duds as I do, there's nothing more heart-wrenching than going through your inventory and then having to keep going in and out every time you select 30, and then having to clear it out. So being able to do that quicker, I'm all here for. But we're also getting a co-op related one where a sound will play when you're guesting and joining into a room, or if you're hosting, and a sound plays when everyone's ready, so you don't have to be watching your phone or device intently waiting for it. You get a sound that turns up and tells you, which honestly is really nice, and hopefully, one would hope that it might aid in just the flow of getting into battle quickly when you're in co-ops, because anything that improves the co-op experience, I am very much here for. Now, following the maintenance, on Thursday, at least Thursday in the UK, September 30th, we're going to be getting the Autumn Festival. Well, we haven't had an Autumn or a festival in a while, but the best thing that you've probably noticed the second you looked at that slide is 8 free multi-draws. So, with the number of banners that we're getting here, there is one that might be missing, which is interesting, and we're going to have a look at that as we go forward. But basically, there were notes that were made during this particular slide with regards to Agrius and the distribution of tickets during her event. A lot of people were expecting a large number of tickets, but because it was tied to the New Year's campaign in JP, it's not the same for us. And I think last month when it was said that there would be moved about, I think that what that meant is the fact that obviously we get those kinds of resources during our own New Year and anniversary campaigns and things like that. So to expect us to get the same rewards twice, so when JP got their version of Agrius and Shinryu, it was during New Year, whereas for us it was during the summer. So it's different. So try not to be too upset by the fact that we don't get our resources like at the same time that JP did, but we do get them eventually. So it's something that's worth bearing in mind. But like I said, the other thing that was mentioned is that some banners get moved around. Like Setzer being pushed back a bit. I still think it was shady that there was no BT on that banner, however. And then Aphmau getting pulled forward and being part of Exdeath's batch instead of the next one. And there being 8 free multi-draws, there was one banner here that was missing that was there in the JP version. Technically 2, because Aphmau was there as well. But Zack's LD was released partway through Ace's batch, and it's not listed here. So it'll be interesting to see how that gets released. So the last event that's been listed here is on October the 20th, and then the next stream is on October the 25th, and therefore there's a big old gap between the 20th to the end of the month. So I'm wondering if maybe something will happen with that. But there's no way of us fully knowing, and as a content creator trying to keep up with these things as they shuffle around, it can prove to be problematic. But we're getting 8 free first multi-draws, 1 for every banner for this month as far as we're aware, as well as the limited time panel missions, etc., stickers, and a co-op that coincides with the Divine Pandemonium event that we're going to get. And we also get an LD power token sale. Now this is something that was released in JP, and basically you buy these and they are quite expensive from what I know. And you can choose an LD much like you can with an EX or BT shop, but the only way to get these tokens is through purchasing them with real money. And they are only, the LDs that are available are only listed up until the last one that we got. So for us, that's Aphmau LD. Anything that's released after this point is not getting added to that shop. We get you can choose one from ones that have been released up until this point. So price points and everything, we're not entirely sure about how it's going to translate, but expect this to be quite expensive. And we get new warrior gem sales reset, which is quite nice for light spenders because, you know, just little bits and pieces that get you a few gems here, there and everywhere. These are quite nice to have access to, and then your typical autumn festival gem sale. Now, rather fortunately, the next bunch of slides that we're going to get, I've already covered, because I made a video about them earlier today, because we're going to be seeing from September 30th onwards, the dawn of the BT Plus era. So the first characters getting these are going to be Zidane and Y'shtola, and they're also going to be accompanied by the returning LDs for Beatrix and Rinoa. Now, all of these characters, except maybe Rinoa, are really powerful in their own right. Like, Rinoa is certainly not bad, but she's very, very replaceable by a lot of other characters. I'm actually going to have to split my Should You Pull video for this in 2, because there are 4 characters all getting updates, and all of them are quite complex in and of their own right, especially considering the fact that BT Plus is now a thing, and that's an extra thing that we're going to need to cover. But to quickly run down, Zidane's main shtick is that he is a bit of a jack of all trades. He does a lot of different things. His LD gives him access to a buff where every time he breaks an enemy, he deletes their turn, and his LD and an HP attack that he gets from using his LD re-breaks the enemy, so he becomes a turn deleter, but he also has access to battery, debuffs, launching from his existing kit, and then his BT happens to make it, like, if you like green his BT, he then becomes a healer as well. He just does a little bit of everything, and he's very interesting as a character. Whereas Y'shtola, her big thing with her BT and her BT Plus is that she has massive brave gain increases, which is very powerful going forward. But I'm going to cover all of that in the next Should You Pull video. And then a lot of the slides that follow it talk about burst weapon realization and how they work, what you get from them, and then obviously Lufenia Plus as well, and what they're all about. However, one thing that is quite nice that I didn't mention in my Lufenia Plus BT Plus video is that when you get to Chaos, you unlock Chaos Challenge at the same time as Chaos, and once you clear Chaos Challenge, it clears the Chaos for you, so you actually don't have to do it twice anymore. You can just jump straight to the Chaos Challenge and then to the Lufenia/Lufenia Plus, because if you do the Lufenia Plus, you then clear the Lufenia at the same time, so you only ever have to do one of those things. You only have to do the Chaos Challenge and then the Lufenia Plus, so you're not repeating yourself. It's a nice little extra and a nice quality of life change that it's, you know, it just makes things a lot smoother going forwards. One thing that concerns me, however, with these released characters like Zidane and Ishtola is that in JP they were given some free resources like the books and the ingots in order to awaken your first BT Plus and such. And we've been given the Autumn Retweet campaign, which lists a singular book as the rewards for it. And I hope that this is in addition to any kind of celebratory rewards we get for entering the Burst Plus era, because it seems a little nonsensical to me to release these characters and then not release enough resources to max them off the bat. Like, we definitely didn't have that with EX Plus, so it seems strange to do it with BT Plus. And honestly, if Zidane can't be green BT Plus 3 out of 3 off the bat, I think it's unlikely that a lot of people will then go back and then green Zidane. Ishtola, not so much, because she really does require her BT Plus to be green to, well, she doesn't, she's a lot better if you do. Whereas Zidane can function very, very nicely with just a book on his BT, or even just a base BT, or even an LD on its own. So I think it's very strange, I want to see within the game what gets released in terms of resources for this, so that we don't end up on a back foot before we've even started. We do also have a Portal App campaign, which we get every couple of months, and it's typically just results in a few tickets, maybe some gems, and little bits and pieces from that. Honestly, I'd quite like to see these resources updated, because Bloom Fragments, etc., really not that big a deal anymore. And then 5 of each of the Power and Armor Orbs, sure. But realistically, we can expect a few tickets out of this if we hit the 1.2 million points mark. So in the following week, on October 4th, we're going to be getting Sync's Lost Chapter, or Guy's Lost Chapter featuring Sync. You can tell where I'm going with that. Guy, don't get a lot from his LD boards, or from this update particularly. It's not anything spectacular, sadly. Sync, however, is actually very interesting. On the back of the debuff that she puts on from a follow-up attack that she gets from her LD, which reduces their resistance to HP damage by 30% and lowers their defense by 100%. Now, Sync is very slow. That is her main drawback, and she actually delays herself. But if you happen to have access to Aphmau, she can actually be a lot better than people think she is. This is probably the banner that most people will probably skip on this banner on the back of what follows her, but she's a lot better than people think she is. Going forward, most characters are really good. There's very few characters that one can consider skippable, and it's making me having to rethink how I'm going to do things like future pools going forward, because it's just not the same metrics anymore, so I'm having to really think about that. However, one character that I think many people will probably be going in on is Sid Reigns. Sid Reigns is disgusting as a damage dealer. He manipulates turn order, with his LD, he pulls characters up with his skill 2, he launches through everything he does. Oh, and by the way, he does massive Brave HP dumps at the end of a launch after everyone else has gone, which is disgusting. Oh, and he also has Master Spell and Esunaga on his EX or loads of stuff as well. He does a lot. Sid Reigns is really good. That is a Should You Pull video that I will be making that I'm sure a lot of people will be watching because of the hype behind Sid Reigns. There's a good reason for it. Now, interestingly, the next batch of BT Pluses that comes about actually comes out in conjunction with Dimensions and Transcendence 5, which is quite unique in terms of placement of banners in relation to the event. But this one is going to feature Ace and Bartz. Now, Bartz's BT Plus makes it so that he has Wind Enchant on his BT effect. It makes it just significantly stronger and kind of irons out all of the bits he was missing from his a regular BT, and he's a very strong character. Ace is also a really strong character as an off-turn damage dealer with an LD that puts up a debuff that has off-turn damage every turn, and a BT that sets up another trap and also party-wide auras, through just various different means. He was always a fairly decent aura bot that did damage, but all of his older kit has been completely ironed out in favor of all these nice traps and things that he gets from his LD. So he's definitely a character to be watching out for as well. Kamari and Farris are also returning here, and Kamari gets some nice bits and pieces as well from his LD boards, etc. Or any reworks he gets to that, being able to use his blind more frequently. He's another character that people could probably live without quite happily, but he's another one that people underestimate quite heavily too. And then on October 15th, we're going to get Prompto LD alongside Aranea's Lost Chapter. And Prompto LD definitely helps him out a great deal but in my opinion, he's one that you probably want to wait until his C90 comes out, because he gets significantly stronger from that point onwards, as does Guy, actually. So if you pick up Guy while you're on the route to sync, like, it's not the end of the world. You actually will have use for him. And then on October 20th, we're going to get Quistis's event, which is a heretic event. And Quistis, this is one that a lot of people feel very contentious about, because it feels very railroaded, in that if you don't not bringing Quistis or Cloud of Darkness, somebody that can delay 3 turns in a row at a time, you're going to struggle with it, and that is true. So this batch of Lufenia pluses is one that is one that people are going to find very challenging. But as content creators, and I'm sure many others, will do our best to help you, guide you through it in ways that don't necessarily require the characters from the banner in order to clear them. So try not to panic, because we have had the foresight from the JP version to be able to learn how to tackle these events. So that's going to be all from today's video for October in Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. Lots to be excited for, lots that we're not, we expected most of this, except maybe the absence of Zack's banner and obviously the movement of Aphmau's banner. But past that, it's all stuff that we mostly expected, but it's all very exciting stuff nonetheless. BT+, Zidane, Sid Reigns, there's Ace, Bartz, there's lots of really nice things to be looking at, amongst others, in this first month. So, but don't be discouraged by how many things there are, because there's so many things going forward as well to look forward to in coming months as well, that with BT Plus era, you can largely, past the first couple of months of challenges with Lufenia Plus, you really can just pick and choose your favorites and just build teams that way, and that's something a lot of people will look forward to. But sound off in the comments below and let me know what you think of everything that we're covering today, and obviously what events you're looking forward to, who you're pulling for, etc. And don't forget to like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel, of course, and click the bell for notifications on any future videos I might be making. So that's going to be all from me. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Take care.